How young is too young? And can you find happiness with someone your own age? Welcome to No Two Gays About It, the podcast that gives a voice to the over 50 gay male. And today, it's all about dating. Hello, I'm Tom Burke.
And hello, I am Michael Foley.
And besides our dating discussion, we will of course be throwing some shade at somebody or something in our segment called The Savage Side Eye.
Yes, we will. I have a good one for you today.
Awesome. So, besides that, Michael, how are you doing?
I'm good. You know, we finally have warm weather consistently here in the desert, and it's a joy.
It is a joy.
Yeah. And last week I went to see this, I went to see Thoroughly Modern Millie, which obviously is no new movie.
Right.
But there's a group of guys out here who have been putting this thing together for a while now, and it's called Among Friends, is the group of guys. And they do an interactive version of the film. Think Rocky Horror Picture Show meets whatever film they happen to be showing that month.
Nice.
And I'm telling you, I haven't giggled that much in decades. It was so much so that the guy who was running up and down the aisles doing things, he said to me and my friend, every time I went by you guys, you were giggling. I'm like, because it was funny.
That's a great thing.
Yeah. So what have you been up to?
We here in Palm Springs, where both of you and I live, we are our season is kind of coming to a close, but that doesn't mean it hasn't ended because there are still cocktail parties and dinner parties. It's a lot. So we're still doing that. We're still swinging around in all of these end of season parties. But that is where today's subject of dating after 50 came up for me. And I want to set this up for you before we get into it, because I have a lot of questions about dating after 50. And since you are my single male friend, you're the one who's going to have to help me through all of this.
I'm here for you.
All right, awesome. So we were going to this dinner party, and normally you show up at a party and you don't know who's there, and it's like sometimes it's some good people, and sometimes you're stuck with some duds. But this time, the host actually said to everyone who was coming, and I'm using a fake name here. So Joe is dating someone new and will be bringing them, and it's like, okay, great, whatever. So we showed up at this party. It was a dinner party. Maybe 14 people were there. And walked in, and I saw this like crowd of maybe 5 or 6 guys around this other person. And as I got closer, it was like, oh, that's who he's dating. And it was a guy around 25 years old. And this Joe, was in his 60s. And when I saw this crowd of guys around him, and they were all doing that, like, brushing against him, laughing so they could touch his chest, kind of bumping into his thigh, my whole body just bristled up because it just kind of brought me back to me being that age. And I have said this before, I had some really good years. I was working in front of a camera. So I understood this young guy's mindset. But then that made me start thinking, how young is too young? And, we're talking about a guy in his 60s, and this guy was probably 25. So as a gay man out there dating, do you have like an age limit for yourself?
I sort of set a bar at 40-ish, but I don't hold that to be the rule all the time, because sometimes I meet somebody and I strike up a conversation and it's great. And for me, age has never been a factor, but I want to address something really gross.
Sure.
About that incident you just described. I find that so disrespectful to the person who brought that person as a date, regardless of what their dynamic was, because you have somebody made a disclaimer and said, oh, he's bringing a new date. And then you have all these people hovering around him like flies on shit. And it's so disrespectful to the other person.
And yet, And this is something I saw when I was this age. The guy whose date it was standing there with this like big grin on, like, yeah, this is what I got. And I'm like, that was to me disrespectful to this poor 25-year-old, which I also understand his mindset of like, this is awesome. Everyone's thinks I'm amazing. I'm so beautiful. They all want to touch me. But then you go home and you're like, that was not right. That
Where was the guy whose date this was? Where was he when all this
he was like,
grossness was happening?
he was around. He was over there watching all of this, soaking it all in because that I
Because that
think
was his brooch.
exactly right. And that's the thing. Like I understand, like 5 years between you, 10 years, okay, great. But as it keeps creeping up to like this a 40-year age difference it's just I just don't understand. Like, what do they have in common? What are they talking about? Why is this attraction there? And yet, again, I was in that position and I saw so many friends of mine who were going down that pathway and going with the older man because there was a payoff. There was just as this man was getting his payoff of like, attaboy, look at who you got, and his ego was being stroked, normally there is that exchange of like, okay, this young guy's probably traveling around the world. Maybe he's got a job through this. Maybe he's got some money. But to what end,
That's a tough question because I think on some level all relationships are transactional.
Yes.
But, I mean, they just are, regardless of what the age difference is. So if it works for the two of them, awesome sauce.
Well, that's the thing. If it works for the two of them,
Right.
if they are both happy in this, I have to tell you this too. I'm telling a lot of stories about myself when I was younger, but I remember coming out to LA. I was still living in New York. I came out to do a job, and at the time, I was. A lot of people were kind of pushing me in different directions. Go meet this person, do this, whatever. There was this one man who was very helpful to me, and I would meet him in his office, and you know, in conversations, he would be like, "So, when you move out here, where are you going to move?" And I'm like, "Oh, I want to live in the Hollywood Hills and the Bird Streets because that was my favorite area, and I want to have, I'm going to drive a black Mercedes convertible because in the '80s that was the car or whatever." And anyway, that was just conversational stuff. So one time I had flown out, I had this big meeting, and then he said, "Well, why don't you meet me for dinner? And I have a business transaction to talk to you about." And I was like, "Oh, something happened. Somebody wants, something." And to meet him at the Ivy. And again, the '80s, you were either at the Polo Lounge making your deals or you're at the Ivy on Robertson making your deals. So I met him for dinner, order, whatever. And he takes out his briefcase and then brings out a contract. And I was like, "A contract? This is something big, like,
Okay.
whoa." So then he starts reading what this contract is. And it was the house on one of the Bird Streets, the car, the little black Mercedes convertible. And then it was what I needed to do in order to have those things. And it was first, it started like how many events I had to go with him monthly. And
How
then
old was this person?
then it turned sexual.
How old was this person?
He was in his 50s.
Okay.
I was in my 20s.
20s.
But when that happened, that's when I realized this is a business. That,
Like I said, it's all relationships
it's
are transactional.
Exactly. And yes, obviously there are plenty of people, females and males, who are signing those contracts. I didn't even finish dinner. I excused myself. I said, "This isn't my world," and I just got up and left. But yeah, that is out there. So yeah, so maybe younger people, if you're getting something and this other person is getting their ego stroked or whatever they need to get from this, great. But it has to be a healthy relationship, right?
Well, I guess for some people that is a healthy relationship. That if it's completely transactional and there's an agreement and it's not for anything other than that purpose and it works for both of them, cool. But then there's the relationship that deals with feelings and love
Right.
and intimacy and all that other stuff where it's not transactional. So dating can be a number of different things to different people.
It's true, but again, going back to my experiences and seeing other people my age who would go into these kind of relationships, a lot of younger girls were going in these relationships with married men just to get that amazing apartment in New
Yeah,
York.
that's a whole
But to
nother.
see them getting damaged by this, because that man then, when the next younger, hotter guy with better abs shows up, this one gets pushed to the side. And I don't know, I just saw so many people hurt through this. But I've
So
also seen older people get hurt by this younger person.
yeah, you say that person got damaged, but that person was a willing participant.
I
It's
get
always
that.
really hard for me when you have someone who steps into someone else's relationship and then has the gall to claim victimhood when for whatever reason the other person dumps them. It's like
Right. But Michael, I think most of the people who are signing those contracts or going into these, I stood up and walked away.
right.
Not everybody is as educated as I am or as savvy as I might be. And I think as you know, people that are targeted because they're weaker or, an
Yeah.
easy target. So a lot of people go into this thinking, this is it, this is forever, this is going to be
Or I'll change him or her.
right.
And
Right.
I'll make them see the light. Yeah, well, the light is never going to come on.
Right. So,
It just
but
isn't.
but that's the thing. So if you are going to be in one of these May December romances, which I personally don't understand, but I understand that sometimes they do work, it has to be a healthy exchange of whatever it is.
Absolutely, regardless of what it's for. And I'm going to go
Right.
back to your question earlier: is dating a contemporary possible? I mean, obviously it is. But again, it's so subjective because when I was younger, when I was in my 20s, when I was in my late teens and 20s, because I came out when I was 18, I was attracted to older guys for no other reason than I was attracted to older guys. I dated guys in like their late 20s, 30s, and even 40s during that time. And it had nothing to do with anything, but I was really attracted to them.
Okay.
And usually got my heart broken because I got the thing, you're too young. You have a lot to experience.
Right.
You got to go out and live your life. And I'm like, but I don't want to. So there is another side to that coin.
Totally understand that as well. And how mature is that of this older person to realize that and not use you?
With many
And
older people.
sorry?
Like that happened often. It wasn't just one, but looking back now, I do appreciate it. And they were 100% right. Cause now if I say that to somebody who's younger, if I've gone out on a date with, or, it's just, I like them as a person, but I'm like, the dating isn't going to work because there's a gap here. And yes, you may be a mature 35-year-old, but there's a difference between being a mature 35-year-old and a mature 55-year-old or 60-year-old, or so. You have different life experiences that
Right.
sort of transition as you get older, and perspectives and just looks on certain topics.
Right. All right, sir. So let's answer this next question I had. Is it possible to find romance with someone your same age?
Now I can only speak about this personally.
That's why you're here. That's
Obviously,
why I'm asking you.
yes. Does it present a challenge for me? Yes, because we're over the hill. And
Hey, speak for yourself, sir. I am not over the hill. I'm not over the hill.
You're a little further over the hill than I am.
I've gotten to the top of one hill, and instead of dropping, I'm going up another hill. I'm finding a
We're
new
going to build
hill
a
for
bridge to
myself.
the next hill. I'll help you build the bridge
I
to
don't
the
need a
next
bridge.
hill.
I'm there. I'm already up there. It's
All
great. Come
right,
on.
all right, all right, all right.
All right. So tell me,
You
how is
know,
that?
I'm very active. I like to do things.
Sure.
I'm not a sit around for a very long time doing nothing kind of person.
Okay.
I like to experience new things. I'll try anything once, and if I look like a fool doing it, I'm okay with that. But there's a lot of guys our age who are uncomfortable being uncomfortable. And so it
Okay.
presents a challenge for me. That
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. What? I see you
Yeah.
got something burning. Go ahead. What?
All right. So I went hiking this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Left my house around 7 a.m., was hiking. I can't tell you the number of amazingly attractive men our age that I passed on the trails today. And I was like, Michael should be up here.
Did you give any of them my number? Did you?
You weren't there.
So what? Say I have a friend I think you would like. You should call
Yeah.
him. I'm open to that. I'm
Are
not
you-
open to hiking at 7 a.m. No, that I'm not, because I'm not a morning person.
Okay. Well,
I am a night owl. I always have been from the time I was a child.
fantastic for you. However, you want these older guys your age to change up their life and get more active for you. Well, why don't you change your life and get up earlier for them?
You know what? If I found a guy that I liked, I'd be up at 7 a.m. Because you
Would
know
ya?
what? Yep, that's right. My head is waving right now. Because you know what?
What?
For decades, through my corporate experience and my entertainment industry experience, I was up at 4 and 5 in the morning doing shit. So,
Okay.
do I enjoy it? No. Will I do it if there's a purpose? Absolutely. So, I'm not asking anybody to change their life. I'm just saying I'm a night owl, and 7 a.m. doesn't come naturally for me. But if I found a man that I wanted to hike with at 7 a.m., I guarantee I'd be on that trail with you.
Okay, the other day I was at a reception, and there again, there are some really good-looking people here in Palm Springs. I was talking to this group, and they have started this pickleball league. And again, this one guy was just like, "Wow, you're dreamy." Very like fit and tall, and not one of those I take steroids or I take growth hormones bodies, just like a normal natural body. And they play pickleball, but I was like, hey, I'll play. They play at 8 and at 9 in the morning.
So you know
Just
what, Tom?
saying. What?
If you said to me,
What?
"Do you want to play pickleball tomorrow at 9?" I would say, "Sure."
Oh, okay. I have said to you, we're doing something at this time, and you're like, yeah, okay, not going to
It's usually hiking or brunch. I don't eat, you know me. I have a bowl of Cheerios and then don't eat
Yes,
until dinner.
but it's at those brunches that you meet these active men who are normal, healthy.
Well, and if I go
Guys.
back through my calendar,
Yes.
I don't see a whole lot of invitations from you to events like that.
I'm sorry, were we just talking about victims?
That's not victim. That's fact.
Because you don't want to go to these things.
Did
you
you
don't
ask
want to
me?
get up in the.
Did you
How
ask
many
me?
times have we don't?
You
need to
asked
be-
me to go to brunch when we have friends in town who are mutual friends, and I'm like, I don't need to see them at 11 o'clock or 9 o'clock because I just saw them the night before.
Okay, but
so I'm
Scott
going to
and
get
I
a couple
both-
hours of sleep, and I'll meet you later.
Scott and I both know if there's anything in a day thing, you're not going to be interested. Just saying.
If there's the possibility of meeting someone to date, I'm there. So you know what? Now
What?
you know.
Now
So
I know.
now you know.
Exactly.
Like they say on NBC, the more you know.
Great.
So there
So
you go.
Tell me some more about what's the deal with dating people your age. Besides being active.
Other than that, finding somebody that I'm attracted to, that's a
Okay.
huge part of it too.
Okay.
It's you can't. That's why I tried this. There was this dating thing that started in LA back in like the 90s, which I joined, and after the second time, I was a little creeped out because it was people who needed a relationship, and
Okay.
no matter if you were the round peg fitting into their square hole, they tried to get you in there, and that's not me. There's a whole bunch of things that have to happen that
Okay.
makes me
I
attracted to somebody.
Great.
Age is irrelevant.
Okay, but what are some of the things that guys your age are doing that are bugging you?
Um, well,
They're not active enough?
no, I didn't say they're not active enough. It's hard for me to find somebody who wants to do things that,
Okay.
like I said, make them feel uncomfortable, and I'm all for that
Okay.
because I feel like helps me grow. Um, there's guys our age who really don't like to discuss their age or have a hard time embracing where they are, and I'm also not big on an unnatural face where
Oh,
the
oh, I
Botox and the
do.
filler and the lips and the pulling, and it creeps me out a little. And
Yeah.
so
But
that's one of the things that sometimes puts me off to people my age, because and not that there's anything wrong with it, but you can tell the person has an issue embracing their
definitely.
age completely.
Right.
And
There
hopefully by the time we're past our 50s, you're a little more comfortable in your own skin.
Well,
And
one problem that we have, I was living in New York, you as well, then Los Angeles, the whole Hollywood thing, Palm Springs. There is a very youth-oriented mentality, especially in the gay community. However, those people, the guys with the shoe polish black hair, when
oh yeah,
you're like, dude,
yeah.
come on, and doing all the filler and everything, they are searching for their lost youth. They're trying to capture something that never was for them. It's all in their own insecurities. But Michael, there are so many men, especially in our circles that, we're going out in, that are embracing their age. They use the wrinkles are their medals of honor. Look at the life that I've been through,
Could you
right?
introduce me?
Yes, I could. But seriously, there are so many men who, instead of, looking for something that was passed behind them or trying to be something they're not, they're looking forward to those adventures they're going to be taking. That next thing that's going to be happening. There are plenty of those men, I feel, in our age category that are out there.
Yeah, and again, you travel in different circles. For me to meet somebody, I have to get off my ass and like go to a bar, which isn't my thing. And I pushed myself to go to this Among Friends movie thing
Yeah,
last
which is
week,
great.
and it was a blast. And I think anytime a single person goes somewhere where it's going to be an event or a number of people, you're always thinking, oh, I wonder if I could get a date out of this. Um, so, I'm trying,
Well,
but boy,
but
is it hard here.
I also think no, you're not going to find those guys in the bars. The guys in the bars, we've discussed this. The
Yeah,
guys in the bars
absolutely.
are looking for the younger guy. They're those 65-year-olds who are looking for the 25-year-old. I don't get it. They're the ones who have the filler and are wearing clothes that are, not appropriate for their age. You need to, like this, find these new places where men our age who are comfortable and who are not searching for their past but looking for their future, like this friends group that you went to. I think that's our next goal, is to find you the right man.
Yeah, and again, for me, seriously, age isn't and never really has been a huge factor because again, there are so many things that go in. I don't have a type. You just know it when you see it, and there's something that clicks, and it's inexplicable. I can't put it down on a piece of paper and said, "This is what I'm looking for." But you know how you just know. I mean, you've been married for 35 years, but you have to remember, when you were younger, that
Right.
when you saw somebody, there was something that clicked, and then you could see another 5,000 people, and there's nothing there.
Right. Oh, I totally understand
So
that. Yeah.
age for me on a lot of levels is irrelevant. Although, like I said, I try to keep it at 40 and above. Even that's becoming a challenge these days. I'm gonna say 45 now, 50 maybe, but it's tough because also a lot of guys our age are married.
Well,
And
that's
that
true. But
so
there's a
it's
lot
more
getting
challenging.
divorced. That's, it's the new gay divorce is
Yeah.
happening.
Well, as long as they're divorced for more than a year,
Okay.
then I will participate.
Okay. Man, he's got a lot of rules.
Well, there's baggage that got to be
No, I
unpacked after a divorce.
totally get that. But
Um,
I also think that there's some baggage with single men who have not been in relationships,
oh, totally.
especially at our age.
Yeah.
They're very, this is the way I do things. I'm not going to change anything. If you don't fall into this little box that I've made, then yeah, go away.
I have a big box.
I don't need to hear that. Thank you very much.
You
But
know, I
why do you
said
think
that.
people were giving me contracts? So do I.
I said that just for your benefit.
Thank you very much.
I tried to make you give me an eye roll, but you didn't even blink.
Not going there today.
Although you did yesterday at the coffee shop, so that made me happy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm referring to?
Oh, I know what I'm referring to.
When that guy walked by, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, Michael, you're sitting here having coffee with me. Put it back in your pants. We're not going to do that.
It wasn't
today.
in my pants. I just said, hello. And that was it.
Mm-hmm. And how old was that guy, Michael?
Didn't even know I was alive.
How old was that guy?
I would say he was a good 35, 40.
Oh, no. He was 30.
No,
I think
he wasn't.
Oh, please.
No.
All right.
Nope.
Well,
I think we definitely see age differently. Because I remember that man at the same coffee shop who was in his dolphin shorts. You thought was much older than I thought he was.
right.
So
Well, I think when I see men, like I said the other night at this pickleball group, I found those men so sexy in the confidence that they have in who they are, in their age, in their life accomplishments and what they're also accomplishing. I find that so much more sexy now at this age than someone with amazing abs and taut skin and someone who's
I never found that sexy, actually. In fact, people with those flawless bodies, usually I was not attracted to.
oh,
Oddly
excuse
enough.
me.
Sorry
about
you
that.
know. We could have been friends in the 80s and the 90s.
We
but
would
they
not have been
didn't.
friends in the 80s or 90s. I just know that. But only because I was an asshole. Which, I changed.
That's fucking awesome to own that.
Oh my God, yeah. I would definitely have to talk about that one day where I realized this was not the path I wanted. Like, I did not want to be that guy who people was handing contracts to. No, you know?
Because actually, if you think about that, there was definitely something where he thought that was an okay thing to do.
Well,
So,
because obviously that had happened before.
Yeah,
But,
that's so interesting.
I knew I needed to change my whole world. Well, we don't have to go into any of that right now. So in thinking about all this dating stuff, I, of course, being who I am, did a little research, tried to find a list, and I did find, the 5 guidelines for gay dating over 50. Because this is going to help you, Michael.
I seriously can't wait because you know how I love your lists.
Yes, you do.
Almost like I love cold and spicy food.
All right. So, is it possible to find romance after 50? This is going to help us do that. The 5 guidelines for gay dating over 50. Number 1, and this you will totally agree with, embrace your age and maturity. Right?
Cheers to that.
Exactly.
Yes.
Let me
I
just
love
read.
that. Oh, this is a good list so far.
So far. It says, take stock of all the reasons why you're a good catch as an older man and lead with that confidence in all social interactions. Your life experiences, maturity, wisdom, and accomplishments can make you very appealing to the right man.
I like that.
I love that. I think that's great.
Preach, sister, preach. Yes.
Okay, then. Number 2, be visible and proactive. Now, what does that mean? The older we get, the easier it is to get too comfortable with our ways and our routines. That's what we were just talking about.
Absolutely.
You need to be a little bit more flexible and get the hell up and go hiking at 7 a.m. to see all these really attractive, mature men. No, not going to happen.
I just want to point out that I have been hiking with you early-ish, like a 9 or a 10 o'clock when I first came out here. There was nobody else on the trail.
Yeah, 9 o'clock is totally different. These men are up because, they're starting. I was passing them, so they probably started at 5:30. They're going to do their hike. They're getting their workout in. Then they're going to the office to make big deals, make some big money. These are the guys we want, Michael. Come on.
I don't even, What? You could work at McDonald's, and as long as you're functional, I'm happy. Sorry, I know you want to hook me
We
up
need-
with, I know.
You too are going to have to come to my workshops and lectures on. Yeah. Okay. This also says to become active in your local gay community, which you are, which is awesome.
Yeah.
We talked about this a number of times, getting out there, putting yourself out, joining gay athletic leagues, which you're all doing. That's all great. All right. Number 3 of these 5 guidelines for gay dating is spread yourself across a variety of dating venues.
I
So-
spread myself as often as I can.
I don't want to hear that, and neither do these men. Stop talking about that. They don't
What
want to
makes
know.
you think, you know what? You need to get your mind out of the gutter.
Yeah, okay.
Because, again, going to that movie thing was a tough one for me. Joining the bowling thing was a challenge for me because I didn't know anybody.
Which is
You know,
brilliant.
so
It's great.
I do spread myself
Okay.
across different venues and make myself feel uncomfortable, and it usually turns out to be a really positive experience.
Fantastic. Yeah.
So
that's
get
fantastic.
your filthy mind out of the gutter.
Okay.
Calls me trailer park because I'm from Jersey.
And it's only, and who has trained my brain to be in that gutter? Just
I don't know,
asking.
your husband?
Oh, please, no. Not even. Not even. Although we did kind of, I became totally white trash and he took over my role of, well, it doesn't matter. Anyway, the dating side, I know, because we have talked about the gay sexual apps.
Yes.
But are you on any of the other gay dating apps? Do you use
Yes,
those?
I
Oh,
do.
okay.
And like that experience I had mentioned earlier in Los Angeles for the in-person sort of dating thing when it was before the internet,
Right.
I have not had good experiences. So I have hung up that particular
Okay.
suit and probably will never go back.
Okay. Great. Number 4, guidelines for dating in the gay world after 50. Take note of your 50-plus gay brothers. While we all have our specific turn-ons and attractions, it is important that we not take for granted that there are a lot of hot 50-plus gay men. Avoid falling victim to the glamorization of youth, which we've all talked about, and
Talked about that too, right? It's
You're
good.
not doing that.
That's a good piece of advice.
yeah, right. Good for you. Here's this. Expand your erotic template and pay close attention to all the goodness and sexiness that an older gay man can bring to the table. Okay.
I'm not touching that because you will accuse me of being
What?
dirty.
No, it's all good.
Or,
So yeah, we both
was that number 5?
No, that was only 4.
That was still
Got-
4?
Got one more.
Hey, we're doing well on this list. I
This
like
is a good list, right?
This is a good list.
Yeah. All right. It's not really telling us anything we don't know,
Right.
but it's telling us that we have you on the right track. And that's all that matters.
But the good news is it might be telling some other people something
Exactly.
they don't know.
I
That
hope
embrace
so.
your age. Come on.
Oh, please embrace your age. Just the more you can do that, the more doors will open up for you.
Yeah.
It's so
Well, not only that, it
It's
just leads to
freeing
it is
and-
freeing. Your life is happier if you, and we all have days where it's like we aren't very happy with ourselves. But
sure.
even if it's 80% of the time that you are, that's a pretty good ratio. Because I
Yeah.
used to be like 1% happy, 99% miserable, and
Aw.
and like you, we've done a lot of work on ourselves, and it's something to be proud of. Number one, that we're still here, and
Right.
that's saying something for our generation because we went through it.
Sure we did. And I just have to note, we've done work on ourselves. We haven't had work done on ourselves.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Do you know I had some queen at a, those shops here in town where they hand out those little packets of cream?
Yes.
Handed me one. He said, "Hey, how you doing?" And I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" He goes, "Do you want something for under eye or over eye?" I said, "I don't know because I don't use anything." And he goes, "Oh." well, what do you do? I said, well, I use aloe vera. That's what I use because I have really sensitive skin and things burn me.
Okay.
And he goes, but you don't have a reaction to hair color? And I was like, bitch, this is my natural color. I'm like, see this gray over here?
Mm-hmm.
But I just thought that was hysterical that he thought I dyed my
Okay.
hair. And now I know why my grandmother used to get so pissed off when people would accuse her of dyeing her hair at the age of 60 and 65.
Sure.
But anyway, number
Okay.
5.
Number 5. Number 5, lead a balanced life. Feed your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual selves to make sure that you are a whole person, as whole as you can be. This will help you with being emotionally and physically available for true love when it presents itself.
This is the first time since we've started this that I'm going to be able to say these words. I love this list.
Aw, and we love your list too, Michael.
My lisp?
No, your list.
My list. How many S's are in that?
Yeah, it's a great list, right?
Yeah.
All right.
It really is. And that last one's, again, huge because, I think a lot of, you don't have to use spiritual in the traditional way, but, if you have a connection to nature
Sure.
or just something that fills you up, I think also it helps to have a happier life.
Exactly. Whether you're dating or not dating, I think leading a balanced life and making sure that each one of these sections of who you are is fed and nurtured and, making you an amazing person. So, yeah, that's a great thing.
Yay. If I could stand
Totally.
up, I would give you a standing O for this list. I loved it.
Well, thank you very much. So let's ruin this good feeling by heading over to the Savage Side Eye.
This week's Savage Side Eye is going out to Sarah. I lied for a living during the Trump administration. Huckabee Sanders.
Ooh.
Who is...
Now what did she do?
If you haven't seen it, it is jaw-dropping. And I swear to you, you would think you were watching a Saturday Night Live sketch because she has started this campaign on Twitter. And it's called The Real Women of Politics, which includes her, Kim Reynolds of Iowa, Kay Ivey of Alabama, and Kristi Noe of South Dakota, who are all female governors in red states.
Okay.
And she started this little campaign in reaction to the Bud Light fiasco that's happening now amongst the snowflakes on the right because they can't stand a rainbow on their beer can.
Right.
And Budweiser's support of Dylan Mulvaney, a trans activist and influencer, and they gave her a voice, and the right hates that. So Sarah put together this little campaign that I swear to God looks for an ad like for Olivia and Atlantis Cruise Lines, because I'm going to post it on our Facebook page.
Okay.
So people can actually go and watch this, and the jingle that goes along with it is fucking brilliant in a really horrendous way. But it's women fishing, and this other woman stuffing a fake fish into a box, and these really handsome men looks at a party, and it's so lopsided for the message she's trying to convey. And I thought to myself, I wonder if she realizes how ironic this video is. Yeah, and the point obviously is that there's such a thing as a real woman as opposed to a fake woman. And, my question to Sarah is, what is she so insecure about in regard to her own femininity? I could probably give you a list, but that would be judgmental and rude on my part in regard to her. So I won't. But what is so hard for her to accept about her own femininity that she has to attack somebody else's and just can't let people live and let live? It's that faux Christian mentality.
Sure.
That is prevalent now amongst the snowflakes on the right.
All right. So
you really have to take a look at this.
Will do. So,
Oh, sorry, because I forgot a really important thing.
yes.
The purpose of this ad is to make money. So she's selling beer cozies with her face and the other three women's faces on it. It's put over your beer can so you won't have to look at that woke can
Wow.
that's being
Okay.
forced upon you.
Wow.
I forgot that most important part.
Yeah. All right. Well, Sarah, you just got a little shade from Michael's savage side eye. Nicely done. So you were saying that you were going to put that up on our Facebook page. Well, Michael, how can somebody find our Facebook page?
So for all you folks out there who want to find us on social media, you can find us by the moniker No Two Gays About It, and that is the number 2. And that is across all social media platforms, your Facebook, your Instagram, your TikTok. And you can find us at Gmail too, at no2gaysabout@gmail.com. And again, number 2. So there you have it. Please reach out to us.
Yeah, I would love to hear from all of you, especially those of our contemporaries, over 50 gay men who are out there dating, especially if you are in one of those relationships where there is a large or an age difference. How can you answer my question? How young is too young, or how does it work for you? Also, let Michael know where he can find these active men who are, embracing their age and moving forward. So yes, please reach out to us. We want to hear
open to ideas.
Totally open. And I will, if I have to go and get him out of his bed in the morning to meet some men, I'm going to have to do that.
And I'm up for pickleball, so let's do it.
All right. But first, we're going to have to burn those clam digger things that you are wearing, because
I don't wear them on a tennis court. I wear tennis shorts. So
real tennis shorts, the ones that are like mid-thigh
with pockets for your balls. Yes, real tennis shorts. The kind
Okay.
That, yes.
All right, good.
Do you know? Although when I did start playing tennis, I was wearing the clam diggers.
Oh,
but
my God.
that was 20 years ago. So
yeah,
I wear real tennis shorts on a tennis court.
All right.
And I will wear real tennis shorts on the pickleball, just so I won't embarrass you. Although now I may wear them just to embarrass you.
Yeah. I told you, I have to give my husband Scott the once over before he even walks out to get the mail. I'm like, nope, that's not happening. Not going to do that. I have a reputation.
I love my clam diggers. I like having all those pockets.
Oh, what are those? You and all of my lesbian friends. I don't understand.
And you know what? It's okay.
Why do you need those pockets?
Because you always have stuff.
Okay, that's for another day. This day has been awesome. I loved our list. I love talking about dating because I need to learn this stuff. So thank you very much, Michael. Thank you all out there for joining us at No Two Gays About It. And until next time.
Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.